All right, welcome back. And in the morning, we start hockey. So hockey starts at 1 p.m. Eastern and runs right through till about midnight Eastern. So I've got about 11 hours of hockey to watch tomorrow. All set. Starting with the Boston Bruins and the New Jersey Devils in the second of their meetings. Boston, of course, won the first one in a shootout, meaning that New Jersey's 0-1. Halak's been confirmed as the starter for Boston. We knew he was going to get in there. There were rumors Bruce Cassidy was going to play him one out of the first four games on this road trip. We'll see if this is his only start or not. And of course, for New Jersey, I'd expect Wedgwood. For New Jersey, again, they need to crank up some wins. Boston didn't look like world beaters in that first game, so we'll see how it goes. Then at 4 o'clock Eastern, so that's 3 hours in between. So I will be doing a review of just this game on its own, and then I'll be able to do a review of just this game. San Jose, of course, 1-0. They won in Arizona this second half of this back-to-back. Arizona lost that one in the shootout. Couture with the shootout winner, as Marchand had the shootout winner here. I expect a good game. If Arizona plays as well as they did in the first game, they could very well win this one. So, be interesting to see what happens. So, 3 hours in between this one, and then there's 3 hours between this one and this one. So, again, I'll be able to do a review of this game, a review of this game, and then we get into the evening games that I'll review all together. And there's 8 of them. Starting with 4 at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. The Islanders and the Rangers. The Rangers have to wake up. They're 0-1. The Islanders are 1-0. Georgiev will start for the Rangers. I would imagine it'll still be Varlamov. Could be Sorokin for the Islanders. I don't know that it matters. The Islanders, it feels like, put almost anybody in net. And because their goaltending coach is so solid at getting the best out of his goalies, that the Islanders' goaltending numbers are always going to be good. So the Rangers really, and again, I know it's early, but it's a sprint. And if it starts tumbling downhill like it did for the Rangers in that first game, they got to turn it around. Also at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, Detroit. I'm repping Detroit. So when I do these previews, I go, all right, so who do I think should probably win? There's no real plan to it. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, Detroit. Come on, Detroit. It's Carolina again. Carolina shut them out 3-0. Come on, Detroit. Get a goal. Something. Fabry get a goal. Maybe Zadina gets a goal. Something. Because that first game looked a lot like last year's Detroit. And so, sure. See what Detroit can do. If you went back 20 years in time and said, you know, you're going to be hoping for a win from Detroit, I would have said that's a lie. Why are you lying? I've at this point, it's just been so bad. I don't want to see this season go as badly as the last one. Now, also at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, and people are going to be watching this one close. Toronto, who have issues on that blue line and in net, will have Jack Campbell in net. If Campbell wins this game over Ottawa, who are 1-0 with the win over Toronto tonight, get ready for goaltending controversy early. So if Campbell comes out tomorrow night and plays really, really well and ends up with good numbers, there'll be a goaltending controversy, according to probably some media and some fans. Likely not for Sheldon Keefe, but we'll see how it goes. The back-to-back games, can Ottawa win again? I think they can. Do they? That's a whole other discussion completely. Montreal will be in against Edmonton. This one starts at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. The start times are going to be odd for the Canadian teams throughout this year. There's going to be games that start early, games that start late. This one's starting early. So Hockey Night in Canada gets Montreal and Edmonton. Rogers is going to love the ratings. And this is going to be a great game. The Oilers, of course, 1-1 after their meetings with the Canucks. And Montreal lost their first game of the year against Toronto. They'll be looking to bounce back. Mike Smith, of course, is on the LTIR, so look for Koskinen to get a lot of work. I think Koskinen's going to get a lot of work, and I would not be surprised if Ken Holland's working the phones trying to find some kind of a solution in net, or maybe he can look to an old Red Wing, and Jimmy Howard's still out there. Maybe bring in Howard on a contract just briefly to play the backup role. So we'll see how it works out, but with Smith on long-term injured reserve, that means he has to be out for, probably 10-game minimum. But yeah, we'll see what happens. 8 o'clock Eastern, so an hour after those 4 games get going, we've got Columbus in against Nashville. Columbus, of course, lost in Nashville in Game 1. They're going to want to get out of get out of the blocks a little faster. They're going to want to get one early and really start to put some pressure on Nashville. Nashville won that game. They played a very Nashville game. They kind of played Columbus's game in this as well, but they won. Nashville's going to look to go to 2-0, and we'll see what happens with that one tomorrow night. At 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific, this game that ended up being far more entertaining than it should have been thanks to a kid named Kaprizov. Minnesota's 1-0. The Kings, of course, lost that one in overtime. And we'll see what happens when these teams meet again. Whether or not the Kings can keep this kid that had 3 points in the first game under control. For the Kings, they are expected to be better this year. It is expected that they'll at least contend for a playoff spot in the West. And so these series are going to be really important early on. Again, I'm going to hold off on any kind of a judgment about any team or player or anything until probably 10 games into the season, and then we can start having those discussions. But you don't want to get off to a slow start. 10 o'clock Eastern, we've got 2 games to start at 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern. Starting with Calgary and Vancouver, it'll be Demko and Markstrom. If it's not Demko and Markstrom, people will be very upset, meaning it might very well be Holtby and Markstrom. But either way, that's still a pretty good matchup too. Of course, the Flames lost in overtime against Winnipeg. Vancouver coming off of that rough loss to Connor McDavid last night. And so for Vancouver, they're going to look to bounce back and go above 500. If they struggle in Calgary, this again, you get the feeling that there's going to be some teams that drop out. You don't want to be one of those teams that falls behind early when every single game is a 4-point game. So Calgary's going to be looking to get their first victory, and the Canucks are going to be looking to get their second. And the other 10 p.m. Eastern game, 7 p.m. Pacific, the Anaheim Ducks in against Vegas again. Vegas does have basically a roster that would overwhelm the Ducks. But the Ducks showed some fight in the first game. We'll see how it goes in the second. I do expect Vegas probably wins it, but we'll see. So there you go. You guys are all primed for tomorrow's games. And again, I'm trying to keep the run time short for these. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. 10 games tomorrow. Let me know your winners in the comment section below. Do not forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. And we will be doing at least 3 review videos tomorrow. I'll talk to you again soon.